Do you ever find yourself frolicking through the wilderness with your closest of friends, laughing about nothing while enjoying the warmth of the sun on your face and the peacefulness of nature, until you're all undoubtedly stalked and killed by mountain men with a poor skincare routine and a faithfulness to family? No? Just me? Well, that must mean you have a great sense of direction. As for me, I'm prone to a few wrong turns. As is today's franchise ranking of Wrong Turn.
It's a mutant that kills to feed!
Hi, and welcome back to Real Queer. My name is Cade, and today we'll be discussing the Wrong Turn franchise. Wrong Turn started all the way back in 2003, the original being directed by Rob Schmidt and written by Alan McElroy. The franchise would later on be handed down to a bunch of other filmmakers like Joe Lynch, Declan O'Brien, and Mike P. Nelson. I believe that someone's name is Valerie something. Wrong Turn has evolved over the years. What started out as a simple, throwback to the 80s, a bunch of friends traveling into the woods and then getting killed by these horribly disfigured mutant hillbilly cannibals, essentially became a softcore porn franchise later down the road. So yes, Wrong Turn sure does take some wrong turns. I can't say I blame them because I have a poor sense of direction, which is why I rewatch this franchise annually. Now, if you're new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe. I do rankings and I talk about my favorite horror movies, and I've been rated the second to last best YouTube channel on YouTube. Anyway, if you're not new to my channel, you already know how this works. It's from worst to best, and this time around I've got 6 places. And I know there are 7 movies in this franchise, but I couldn't decide where to put 2, so really they've tied in my book, and we'll just go ahead and get into it. At number 6, we have Wrong Turn 5, Bloodlines, written and directed by Declan O'Brien. This one follows a group of friends who are going to a Mountain Men festival, which really begs the question, do these people know about the Mountain Men? Because clearly they know about them. I mean, they've got masks, and at one point, when one of the Hilliker brothers shows up at a hotel, they're like, "Oh, sweet costume, that was really authentic." They don't really say that, and I guess that's a West Virginia accent that I just did, so deal with it. So yeah, do they know about them? Is it a rite of passage to be eaten and, killed by them? I don't really know. Anyway, back to Wrong Turn 5. Wrong Turn 5 has some of the worst set designs that I've ever seen. It's very stage play-y. It's weird. It's just weird to watch. It's like the budget was $5. They got to that part of the franchise and they're like, you know what? Wrong Turn 5? Hell yeah. Here's $5, dude. Make what you want. I don't know. It was bad. This movie's really dark, very grim, and there's no reason for it. There's no fun to be had, and that's odd for a Wrong Turn movie because no matter how bad they get, there's usually some, type of fun. And really the only fun part of this movie is the news reporter going for a jog and then meeting up with the Hilliker brothers and giving one of his fingers back.
Well, you know what? You don't scare me, so fuck you! Go home!
Yeah, so for that, Wrong Turn 5 gets half a finger out of 5. At number 5 on my list, we have Wrong Turn 6. Last Resort. 6. Last Resort, yes. Wrong Turn 6 features Danny, who is traveling to a hotel that he's inherited, because that's the only plot device that people have these days. I've inherited something, and it's a terrible family of killers who will probably eat all of my friends, but no big deal, I'll have a hotel at the end. So yeah, they're traveling to, meet this family, his cousin girlfriend, and they have a good time for a minute, and then everybody starts to die, of course, because it's a Wrong Turn movie. Wrong Turn 6 is supposed to be a prequel, a reboot. It's supposed to be something, and I used to put this a bit further on my list just because it was nice that they had changed the director, they had changed the writer. I expected something fresh, and I didn't really get that. This is a softcore porn movie that features the killers from Wrong Turn, and people die every so often. Really, every female in this cast ends up naked at some point, and that's not to shame them. It's more so to shame the writer, because I hate when unneeded sex scenes are put into movies, and it felt so strange. I don't know. I used to think that this would have been a better Wrong Turn movie, but now that I watch it, I'm just so uncomfortable while watching it. There's one good kill scene which features a fire hose, and it's just really funny to me. But yeah, I don't know. Wrong Turn 6 at the time was exciting for me because Declan O'Brien no longer was, controlling what was going on with the franchise. But after you watch it multiple times, it's a bummer, and it's not that good. Um, Last year I made a post and I called it an abomination, and Sadie Katz, who is in this movie and has like a relatively good performance, like her character is batshit crazy, and that's the only thing that really does anything to this movie. But she commented on it with a shrugging emoji and a kissing emoji, and I felt awful. I didn't even tag her, but she found it somehow, and I felt awful. Anyway, Wrong Turn 6 is an abomination, and for that it gets half a finger out of 5. Next up on my list, and this one used to be at the bottom, but I don't know, it was just filling away. Every time I watch the Wrong Turn franchise, my ranking ends up changing. But at number 4, we have Wrong Turn 3, Left 4 Dead. Directed by Declan O'Brien and written by some guy who only has this credit to his name. For good reason, because this movie seems like it was just written by a horny teenager doing fan fiction. Wrong Turn 3 follows prisoners being taken to another prison, I think, and along the way, Three Fingers sees them, and he's like, lunchbox, I'm gonna eat those men, yeah! So that's the plot of Wrong Turn 3. Thanks for coming. Wrong Turn 3, of course, starts our escapade into softcore horror porn, and it's terrible. It used to be at the bottom of my list, but I don't know, this time around I guess I just found it really entertaining. It was, of course, bad, but it didn't merit the bottom of the list, I guess. This movie, it features a lot of CGI and a lot of green screen, which is actually pretty funny. Oh my god is right. Oh my god. So that's why it's higher up on my list, just because it's so bad that it's entertaining. I don't think I have much to say about it. Wrong Turn 3 features a bus scene where every time they look out the windshield, they're coming upon a turn, but they never actually take that turn. And every time you look out that windshield, they're coming to that turn.
So, what you gonna do when you graduate law school?
Practice law.
Hope that wise ass.
South Beach. Live a nice, comfortable life,
Retired.
And that's what these movies are supposed to be about. Taking a turn. And it never happens. So for that, Wrong Turn 3 gets half a finger out of 5. Now at number 3 on my list, we have Wrong Turn 4, Bloody Beginnings, which was the start of the prequels for this franchise. And while the writing is terrible, I don't know, it wasn't necessarily like a bad movie. It was shot well. They actually shot in location at a sanatorium. And of course, this movie is about a bunch of friends that go on like a trip. They're trying to get to a cabin, and they don't get that far because of course it's freezing and somebody is taking a wrong turn. So they end up at a sanatorium, and this is where the Hilliker brothers were living all this time, I guess. We get the origin story for these guys, and it's not completely enthralling or necessary, but it happens. Wrong Turn 4 has a ton of gore. The kills are fun. It's really stupid. The mountain men don't actually look bad in this one, which is surprising because usually they get progressively worse. Three Finger has never really looked good since the first movie, which is a disappointment, but what can you do about it? But yes, Wrong Turn 4 I have a love-hate relationship with, and I really started out by hating this movie. When it originally came out, I was like, what the hell? It was god-awful. And because my taste has become shit, this movie gets 3.5 fingers out of 5. Now at number 2 on my list, like I said, I couldn't decide, so I went with both Wrong Turn 2, Dead End, and Wrong Turn 2021, which of course is the reboot. First, I'll go with Wrong Turn 2. Of course, this is directed by Joe Lynch, and if you've seen any of Joe Lynch's movies like Knights of Badassdom or Everly, you know that they're usually a ton of fun. This is like an ode to the 80s horror movies that had come out before it, and it's just like a fun backwoods horror movie. It features a group of people who are competing in a survivalist television show, and their survivalness doesn't come in handy because they all start dying. Wrong Turn 2 is just a ton of fun. It's super bloody. It's got a fun plot device where they're competing in a reality TV show, and they don't necessarily think that it's serious at the beginning when they're, encountering these mountain men. But yeah, I don't know. It's a ton of fun, and it has Henry Rollins in it, and he's just a badass, and he's hot. So I mean, whatever. But it's Wrong Turn 2, yeah, it's a ton of fun. Fun set pieces, super bloody, and for that reason, it gets 4 fingers out of 5. Once you get to 4, it's kind of gross. Next up, we have Wrong Turn 2021, which is, of course, tied with Wrong Turn 2. Wrong Turn 2021, it follows some friends who are hiking the Appalachian Trail, and they're told not to go off the trail. Of course, they do go off the trail, and they meet this group called the Foundation. So there are no mountain men in this movie, but I guess there kind of are. They're just not like mutant cannibals this time. It's more of a facility of people who have their own village, and they take care of each other. And I'm making these people sound super sympathetic, but they're not. Yeah, so it's a really interesting movie, and it was nice to see Wrong Turn become more serious again and not just repeat everything that we had seen before. I know a lot of people have complaints because it doesn't, have the original killers in it. There's no mountain men, but you have 5 sequels to Wrong Turn that are essentially the same thing over and over again. So it was nice to break that repetition and see a reboot that wasn't an exact carbon copy of the original film. The reason it's tied is, I don't know, reboots, they're usually really bad or they're good. And when it comes to Wrong Turn 2021, it feels like the elevated horror version of the Wrong Turn franchise. Like, it does have a lot of interesting ideas, and I don't know, just experiencing a Wrong Turn movie without the mountain men and just like mindless slaying throughout the entire thing, it was a lot of fun. Like, there were more brains to it, and it's a thinking type of movie. So I don't know, it's nice, and it's just well directed, well filmed, and I don't have very many complaints when it comes to it, except for the runtime is a little long and the false ending that they have is really stupid. But yeah, that was my main complaint with Wrong Turn 2021. It just felt a little long, and the false ending was just unnecessary. And I had forgotten to mention that Wrong Turn 2021 was written by the writer of the original Wrong Turn, Alan McElroy, and it was directed by Mike P. Nelson, who directed The Domestics, which is a pretty neat apocalyptic movie. I tried saying that like 8 times earlier, but it kept coming out wrong, so if I didn't say it right this time, I don't care. Anyway, directed by Mike P. Nelson, and yeah, I thought that it was a well-directed Wrong Turn film, which was just nice. And for that reason, it gets 4 fingers out of 5. To number 1, Wrong Turn, directed by Rob Schmidt and written by Alan McElroy. Wrong Turn was released in 2003, and it has Eliza Dushku, and that's why it's at the top of my list. This is one of the first horror films that I was like, I want to watch that. And I wanted to watch it because it had Faith from Buffy. And of course, I'm going to sit down to watch a movie with it. But I remember when I was a kid, the TV spots would always freak me the hell out. Like, there's that particular scene where you hear the laughing and the trees are like moving around. And I always had to run away or turn the volume all the way down because I couldn't stand it. But they had rented it one night and the VHS was sitting there, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch this shit. I was terrified of Wrong Turn. But I don't know, I turned it into something a little more playful. I remember we had a trampoline, and I'm like, I'm gonna pretend I'm falling to those trees just like Eliza Dushku. And I did that. I did that. So I have like a really good relationship with Wrong Turn. While it's not the best like horror movie, it's not original by any means. It's just a really fun movie to me. And I love the cast, I love the setting, and I just love the simplicity of it and how it's a cat and mouse game between these mountain men and these 20-somethings. It's simple. And that's what I like about Wrong Turn. There's not like nudity or like exploitive sex scenes. It's like just a fun movie. It's simple. It's like direct and to the point. It's got killer effects as far as the mountain men. I feel like in the first movie they were just simple and like scary and there wasn't much to them, and I think that's what made them like scarier. But yeah, Wrong Turn is probably just like a nostalgic thing for me, and I have like a good relationship with it, and I don't feel like I need to explain myself. For that reason, I give it 5 out of 5! Wah, wah. Now, with all that said, is Wrong Turn one of the worst horror franchises ever? No, I mean, every horror franchise has its ups and its downs. We get that with our main horror franchises like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Scream. So no, Wrong Turn's not the worst horror franchise. Sure, it has 3 stinkers in there, and really they're only good for background noise, but if you're using them as background noise, there must be something wrong with you. I take that back. I mean, I don't want to kink shame. So if you like listening to those movies, do your thing. But I think the next time I sit down to watch the Wrong Turn franchise, I'll leave those 3 out and I'll just watch the first, the second, the fourth, and the reboot. Because those are the only ones I feel are necessary for me. If you're new to the franchise, I definitely recommend just watching the first one and then the remake. I don't even bother with the other ones. But yeah, Wrong Turn is not the most original horror franchise ever made, but it's fun to watch, and who doesn't like to watch a bunch of gorgeous 20-somethings in despair? I know I don't. I do? I forgot what I said, to be honest. And I've got to give props to this franchise because out of the 3 films, there are queer characters. So in Wrong Turn 2, we've got a lesbian character. In Wrong Turn 4, we have a lesbian couple, and it's more male gaze, so I'm a little iffy on that just because it feels like it was lesbians, but made by a straight man, you know? Like creepy, like male gazy. And then the reboot of Wrong Turn has a gay couple, which is refreshing. It's nice to see more queer content in like mainstream horror franchises. But those are my thoughts on the Wrong Turn franchise. What are your favorite movies when it comes to this franchise? Have you ever seen them? Are you just beginning to watch them? Or did you draw the line at the second and not continue with the rest of the franchise? Let me know your ranking below. You can follow me at real.queer on Instagram, and I can be found on letterboxd at Caterade. So do what you want with that information, and I will see you guys in the next video. I also wanted to do like a quick shout out because I don't know, I think this is almost my 30th video I've made, and I just want to thank the people that have subscribed to my channel and the returning viewers. I know that I make super long videos, so you're not expected to sit here and watch the whole thing, but I do thank you for coming back. That's really nice because most of the time I just feel like a bumbling fool. Anyway, I'm gonna go take a couple of wrong turns and find some hot mountain men to eat my... Bye.
Hey, what's your name?
Chris Flynn.
You hurt, Chris Flynn?
No, I'm fine.
Good. 'Cause you're the mule.
Oh, no.